from Hot 702.5 in Las Vegas, it's time to come together. Rainbow Dreams Educational Foundation presents the 24th Annual Las Vegas Juneteenth Festival, going down Saturday, June 21st from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Expo at World Market Center, and it's free to the public. Catch R&B icon Tweet live on stage, plus performances by Kiss Kiss and the Squad, Darnell Alexander, Unk and the Nephews, and Las Vegas's pop princess Ray Millie. Hosted by DJ Ambeezy with Not a Boy DJ and DJ Kelly J on the ones and twos. Stop by and visit the Hot 702.5 FM live remote tent and check in with our on-air personalities. Shop the vendor marketplace, hit up the food trucks, and enjoy surprise guests throughout the night. Presented in partnership with Google, MGM Resorts International, Live You Equals You in the city of Las Vegas. Come together this Juneteenth weekend to celebrate freedom with Tweet and Rainbow Dreams. Get your e-ticket now and be entered to win one of our fabulous prizes. Visit June19LV.com. That's June19LV.com.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows. Live 24/7. On hot7025fm.com.
Hey, it's Icarice, and I'm here to tell you about Hotcast for Podcasting. We are a podcasting studio located in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Hot 702.5 FM studios. You can book online at hot7025fm.com. Just click on Hotcast. You can book and find your times right there. Thank you for booking with Hotcast for Podcasting.
In my hot girl era. Oh, she said my soft girl era. What's going on, good people? What's going on? Let's Talk Lovers. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Right here on the hottest, sexiest station on the planet, Hot 702.5. And I am your favorite love prescriber, Mizz Lovbe Doctor. And where there is love, there's inner beauty. And y'all already know what's going on with my beautiful co-host, Miss Beauty on the Beat, who is not in studio today. She is probably crying somewhere because her baby is graduating from high school. So she is there. So we're going to drop some hearts for Beauty on the Beat. And congratulations to her son, her firstborn, graduating from high school. So this is her first go-round. And, you know, I know it's a lot of proud parents. I know I keep saying it in the most childish way, but I'm like, it was a lot of people doing the nasty the same year because there is a lot of graduates. And it's like, I knew all these children, but I didn't know they were all the same age and you know, maturing and growing together. So it's like all of a sudden they were babies and now they're not. So shout out to all the 2025 graduates. I'm so proud of you guys. And I'm also proud of myself. I am amongst the crew. I think there was, let me see, there was a stat, a picture somebody put that said, this is the largest graduating class in U.S. history, 3.9 million graduates. So, you know, it's a lot of us brown ones that graduated too. And so this is great to bring us into our topic today. But be sure to share this with the other humans that have hearts like yourself. Comment, call in, talk to us, 702-551-5261. We'd love to hear from you. And if nobody has told you that they loved you today, I would definitely like to be the first. I love you guys. Because it's so important for somebody to say when you need to say it, when you need to hear it, when you need to feel it. You know what I mean? So, but we do have a guest of love in the building. And it is an honor to have her here. And it was a thing. So we do have on the flyer Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Johnson. But he had a scheduling conflict. So we do have our NAACP education chair here with us. And she does have a introduction, and I want to read a little bit of it. So basically, deeply committed to advancing communities through education, economic, advocacy, public service, and social justice. Her mission is to uplift undeserved neighborhoods by fostering redevelopment, educational access. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is like a thing and you were supposed to be here. Outreach, racial equity, ensuring that all I feel like, do I need glasses today? Constituents can thrive and enjoy the fundamentals of a K through 12 charter school in Las Vegas, where she enhanced state testing performance in English language, arts, and math develop school leaders to improve student outcomes, lead monthly professional development for over 90 staff members. This lady, what I've already said is phenomenal. And we can talk about everything that's in here because we need to know you. The community needs to know you. Let's Talk Lovers, y'all need to know her. So give it up for Chandria, you guys. Chandria Daniel.
Hey,
welcome to Let's Talk Love.
I appreciate this very much.
No, we appreciate you being a guest. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. Tell us about you, because that was a lot.
Yeah.
And there was so much more to you, but that alone is considered like, it's like I don't know, I felt when I read it, it felt like a generational chain is like broken within you. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. So I am Chandria Daniel, and I've been in education for 18 years. I started off as an at-risk youth counselor at a boys' home, and I was a case manager and became a teacher. Shout out to all my students back in the day. I started teaching in 2005, and I didn't have a lot of experience, but I will say that they taught me so much about how to captivate, how to grow students, how to love on students, so that way they can be successful after they leave either my grade level or the school that they're graduating from. From there, I started to advocate for children and families, and I moved into leadership. I was an administrator, started off as a dean, went to a principal, and then after that, I was an interim regional superintendent for a school. And it was a lot of work, and I love it. But now I'm at a place where I want to help and develop other schools to grow. And that's very important considering the dynamic that we have with public, private, charter, micro schools. There's so many ways for families to educate their children. And so I want to make sure that they know all the avenues possible, and that any experience that comes to our city, that we can share that, we can grow that, and our children can benefit from it right here in Las Vegas.
That's amazing. First of all, you started with you were taught to love on
children. Yes.
That's first.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so powerful, because I think that we get away from the fact that that's really all they need.
That's really all.
Regardless of all the things we try to tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can feel it in a person where they just kind of melt to your arms, like they just needed a hug, just like grown adults.
Yep.
Just like grown adults, but they're just little people. And I applaud you for everything you do. I think that's super, super dope. So anybody has a dream, you know what I mean, to be an educator, but you want to be an educator outside of
the classroom,
what is told that you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Y'all know I was late, so I'm fidgeting around.
Just getting prepared.
Excuse me. Yes, there was a lot of little things that needed to happen, but no, I definitely appreciate you being here. And I think you're valuable. When you met me,
yes,
you didn't even know me, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, she's about to graduate," and you were like, "So you getting your doctorate?"
Yep.
Like, hello, nice to meet you. You was like, "Yes, hello, nice to meet you," and you're getting your doctorate.
So where are you going? Yes, education is key.
And so like people like that, they live right here sometimes. So even though you don't move one, you hear them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. All right. So today's check-in, I decided to be by Dr. Ebony. My therapy cards for women.
Ooh.
And then there are a few different categories that you can choose from.
Oh, snap.
You can choose from habits.
Okay.
You can choose from mindset
Ooh.
or triggers.
Dang. I think I'll do habits. I'll do
Okie
habits.
dokie.
Yeah.
Artichoke. All right.
Oh my gosh. Drum roll. So I read it and answer it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Which habits do you want to develop to push you closer to your goals? Ooh. Ooh. I think sometimes I am a procrastinator. And for a long time that has been beneficial because being in school, like you can somewhat wait to the last minute to turn in your assignments or get things done. And I've always been able to do that as a studious student, a professional student. But I think as I have so many balls that I have to juggle. I have so many responsibilities. I'm a bonus mom. I'm a fiance.
Congrats.
I'm a business owner. I'm in school for my doctorate. I help and support with NAACP. And so being able to not procrastinate and really plan out as strategic as possible can help me make my goal come true, which is I want to graduate next year. So
yes,
that's the goal. Yes, for sure.
I love that. I want to be there to celebrate said graduation.
Hampton University, let's go.
I definitely am thinking about like a HBCU.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
think, do.
I know, but my current school is on me, hounding me.
Well,
So
you can
we'll
always
talk
go
about
back. Yeah,
We'll
you can
talk
always
about
go
it.
back.
You can always go back.
You can always go back.
All right, so I'll do habits because you did habits.
Okay.
Which habitual thought or behavior impacts how you prioritize yourself? What's habitual thought or behavior? I think I talk negative because when I do procrastinate, when I feel I have the time,
Yeah.
but in reality you should be using all the time.
Yeah.
You really don't have the time to think about the time because all of a sudden then the time is here.
Exactly.
And now I'm pressed to get it done. And I'm thinking of it. It's in my thought process. But it goes back to what you're saying with procrastination. It's like, am I a procrastinator or am I like thinking that I just have more time than what I really have? So I put other things in that place. So that's something that I have to like switch the mindset to be more kinder to myself because I do get things done, but I still go back to like, well, what were you doing? Were you wasting your time? Were you like, I never feel I should be wasting time. And sometimes my body just needs
A break.
time.
Yeah.
And I'll be sitting there like I literally fell asleep on the couch and there was laundry on the couch that I was supposed to be doing. And I just leaned over and I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning like I was tired.
Yeah.
I was tired. So I have to be kinder to myself in that space.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we've checked in with each other.
Thanks. This was awesome.
Yes, yes. All right. So let's get to our topic today. So when I talk about love and the fact that relationships with solid foundations also is something to build and have legacy.
Yeah.
Right. It's important that we leave these levels, and we often talk about the power that being educated holds, and why the people who know, the smarter that you are,
Right.
and the more intelligent that you are, the more superhero you become. right? And I saw a video today. I didn't listen to it, but it said it was I've been wrapped up in Congress and all the foolishness, right? It just makes me sick. And I feel like that could be cause of why I'm exhausted too, because I'm an empath and I can't believe what I'm actually witnessing. But it said this is the reason why they didn't want us educated. And I don't know why I didn't click on it, but hopefully, the algorithm, it hears me. So it'll bring it back up. But clearly it was something that was said, because there's in there listening, you don't even need an education, obviously. But you and our guests, because I still have to pivot the conversation, you guys did a huge thing that is worth knowing about. Full support and getting behind. And this show is a solutions focused show, and so the way his introduction was written, it made me think of like why it is important. What is the solution for us to build generational wealth?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how is that associated with love? Just based off of what you said.
Yeah.
And then how his is written. And then I was like on the website for the school when I started to like put the questions together. And you said love. And I have love and education together. So in your opinion, why is that important?
Yeah. I have seen so many different educational models, so many different schools. And as an NAACP education chair, families come to us for help and support because of safety, because they feel their children are not receiving an equitable education. There's just things that are happening in their system, and they stay within that system because they are not sure what other avenue that they have. But they do have empowerment to research, do their homework, and find an alternative to education. And so when I met Jonathan, he talked to me about his school model that he has, and Rooted School Las Vegas is opening up this fall. It will be a free public charter STEM high school. I've learned how to summarize that. Free public charter STEM high school for this year 9th through 11th grade. And next year, the 11th graders will be 12th graders, so it'll be 9 through 12. There's 150 spaces available for students to close the generational gap that they have in their families. And what I mean by that is students can go to school and gain industry-driven certifications that are at CSN and come out of high school making the money that they particularly could make coming out of college. They can make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year coming out of high school. That is critical and important because parents have to love their children enough to say, I'm going to pivot and not do the same thing that has always been done. I'm not going to solely focus on just getting you an athletic scholarship. I'm not solely going to focus on getting you an academic scholarship because we know those are being dwindled down. And in order for the youth to start building legacy and families to start building legacies, they have to have the courage to find educational systems that will help close generational gaps. The wealth gap right now is 228 years before Black and brown families will be able to catch up to their white counterparts. 228 years. And that's not including the data that we probably will have based on who's in the administration right now. It's probably going to grow even worse. And so families have to love their children enough to say, I want you to be financially sustainable in case anything ever happens to me, or because I've made this choice with you to say, let's explore another avenue in education. If your children love art, if your children love science, whatever they're interested in, you want to find an educational opportunity for them, but you also want to make sure the educational institution is preparing them for the workforce or to be an entrepreneur and be on their own. If those two things are not happening, then what is the point of the school? And that's what school was for us a long time ago. It was to learn how to survive economically, socially, emotionally, civically, so that we could be a force to be reckoned with when it was time to protest, when it was time to develop communities. These things happen through educational institutions. And so we have to get back to that. And if we can't do it ourselves, because anybody can start a charter school, anyone can start a micro school, but if that's not the avenue that a family wants to take, then find the best avenue in school so that they can generate wealth. That's what education should be about. And it is for other communities. We just feel like, okay, we're going to send our children to school so that they get a scholarship. We're going to send them to school to get either academic or athletic scholarship. No, we need to find schools. There are schools out there that are helping them to gain an education, get accepted into college, and make money, which is what we need to close the generational wealth gap.
Okay, perfect. And so, like, what type of curriculum would they receive coming there that's different than what they would receive in public schools?
So a lot of it is similar. Some schools offer project-based learning. If your child is in a STEM school, right, they're going to get project-based learning. I think the difference is they will get dual enrollment, which some offer, some don't. A lot of magnets will offer that, some don't. But every student will have that opportunity. And they're, like I said, they're going to get industry-driven certifications. So that could be cybersecurity, that could be in the healthcare industry, that can be in manufacturing. And some people think, oh, manufacturing, that's like working in a factory, right? No, there's so many things that go on and a lot of jobs that haven't even been created. And so they're going to get certifications that open doors and gives them access. So when they graduate, they have job offers. If there is a high school right now that is ensuring that students have job offers when they graduate, please let me know. Let me know.
So tell people, what is STEM?
Yes. Oh, so science, technology, engineering, and math. So they will have, high schoolers have electives in a variety of different areas. So the electives that they will take will be focused on science, technology, engineering, and math. So AI, robotics, they'll learn about drones, cybersecurity, a ton of different industries that I don't even know yet, that I haven't been privy to. There's so many things that they can do to prepare them for jobs that haven't even been invented yet. But there also will be extracurricular opportunities. So if students are interested in sports, there will be sports there at Rooted. If students are interested in culinary, there will be a program for that. A lot of that will be extracurricular activities. And that's where children flourish the most. Children flourish in the summertime, going to summer camp, being exposed to other children, going outside and playing in the neighborhood. That's where they build a lot of their academic skills and hone in on how to develop within themselves. They get the independence and the freedom to just live and explore and be exposed to things. And so there'll be specific pathways, but personal pathways for students to decide what they're truly interested in inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. There'll be mentoring to help them, coach them, and develop them.
That's what my next question was going to be. How do you get them to a place to know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get them to explore and say, oh my God, this is
the avenue that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Didn't even know that I would like this.
Exactly. We have to expose them to those opportunities that are there. Having guest speakers, having mentors for them, giving them avenues after school, work study, internships, and we will ensure that they have those opportunities coming into the door for them versus them having to go out and try to find individual opportunities on their own. There's also something that Jonathan is doing that is very unique. It's called the $50 study. And this study means that students will be paid $50 a week to go to school.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so they essentially will get $200 a month. And all they ask is, what are you spending the money on? states are starting to transition to do this. They're looking at it in South Carolina. They're looking at it in other states where they need alternative ways to motivate children to go to school. And it's very similar down that line of NCAA and student athletes being paid for their work and what they're doing in college. Well, it's extending and expanding to high school, where students are getting $200 a month to decide what is beneficial for them. And the study has shown that they're very responsible with their finances. They're saving money. They're helping their households. They're not just spending money on like hot Cheetos or things like that. They're getting business suits or things that they need to apply for jobs. They're paying for the items that they want for graduation. They've even shown some people may help with a utility bill. Family, it may be in need for food. So they're able to help maintain and sustain. And it teaches them something that is critical. It applies what we want them to learn in school that they don't have an opportunity to do, because there's no more home ec. Right. There's a little bit of financial literacy, but that's on the scale of what is a loan and, what do you need for a bank account, things like that. But the practice of having money and being responsible for it is not learned until you pretty much get on your own or in college.
And it's by a fluke. Like,
exactly.
If you don't have somebody to teach you, I think that is so powerful, because it already gives them a sense of purpose, especially by the time they're in high school, because they're transitioning from teenager to young adults.
Yep.
So they're already like, oh, Mom, I want to get a job.
Yep.
Most of them want to get a job by 16. So I think that holds a lot of power. But as you were talking, I was thinking about the first job I had, right? It was at a rec center. And I always think about it now on the simple strength of just how much power they were pouring into us.
Yep.
But we had no idea.
No idea.
We had no idea. And we had to work every station in the rec center. And we also had to attend classes. And we also had to do home ec. We had to carry the egg around the baby. We had to do parental things. Like they were teaching
life
us things.
skills.
And I was like, no wonder I know how to be a receptionist or administrative assistant. No wonder I know how to be a cashier in customer service. No wonder, because they taught you every station. And I was like, that's so well-rounded. And I always think about the fact of going back to like, let them know what they produced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
even back then. We just was like, girl, we going to the rec center and it was fun and all your friends were there and you were making money.
Yep.
And you were making money.
And you were making money.
So that's pretty cool. So tell me the history. Like, how did this come up? My best friend said Oxford. That was our first job. They got us shop, didn't they? They got us together.
My first job was at Ross. It was Ross. I had to go to the back and organize all the clothes. For like $6 or something per hour. That lasted a day.
One day.
It did. And then I went, but it was a work study program at my school. And I went to a school and there was a 5th grade teacher and I was her assistant. And that's how I got into education. So like it gave me the exposure of something because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I've been in education for so long now because of that opportunity when I was like a sophomore in high school. So it just opens the mind to give exposure to what is possible.
Yeah.
But tell me your question again.
The history, the background. How did it start?
So 2014.
What's the seed?
Yeah, 2014, Jonathan started Rooted School. He was a teacher himself. He is from Southern California, moved to New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina and started teaching. One of his students was tragically killed. He was 16 years old in the 8th grade and started not going to school to make ends meet. He was a drug dealer, and something ended up happening where he was killed. And so from that, when they were at the funeral, they learned that the student was on track to receive high honor and tested really well for what's called TOPS, I guess, in New Orleans. And so he was, able to possibly receive scholarships. It would open up a lot of doors for him. And when he started, his reading level wasn't where it should have been, but over that time that they were together, he was able to improve. But his life was cut short. And so Jonathan thought, what is a way that I could still contribute to education and help expedite the opportunity for students to be able to make an income without having to have the alternative to choose something that could potentially end their life? And so then he started his charter in New Orleans, and then he branched out to Indianapolis. He's branched out to Washington, and he was asked to come here to conduct his model here and replicate his school here in Las Vegas. One, there's a need, right? There's always plenty of students who are on the waiting list for charter magnets, private schools. There's a lot of waiting lists. People are waiting around to determine what is going to be the alternative for them. And so he took on this opportunity to start a school 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. He's been on this journey to open up this fall. So he's ready, he's eager, and we have a variety of students who have been accepted so far. And Sunday we're going to have a celebration for everybody, founding families and founding students at the historic West Side School. It'll be Sunday the 1st, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to just say thank you. And the community is invited to that because it's about being rooted. So the partnership has to be there, where not only we're helping those 150, but how do we help the community gain the same resources and access that the students are receiving.
That's so dope. So, okay, I do want to know more about him, but I know what to ask.
Yeah.
But where did the word rooted come from? Like, how did that start?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had this conversation somewhat, but I would say the word really does symbolize, like, if students are invested in, if students are rooted in their education, they will flourish.
Mm-hmm.
And the root is financial literacy. The root is generational wealth. The root is financial freedom. That root is something that we as a community have always strived for our own, strive for success through education and beyond, right? And so in order for that to happen, you have to be rooted. You have to be invested in what is happening next. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to take so long to be rooted in your community and in your finances. To be able to expedite that process, to go to college knowing you have income and you have finances and you have sustainability, that's being rooted. I'm investing not only in myself, but I'm creating a legacy for the children that I don't have, right? The family that I haven't built yet. And I can help my ancestors. I can help those who have worked so hard to lay the foundation for me up until this point. That's rooted.
That's deep. Mm-hmm. That's deep. You said something and I was like, I wanted to try to stay with it, but you was like on a roll. But I think that the question I had was, what do you think that we can do to, especially in a pro-social way? What I wanted to say about what you said was it keeps stress-related mental health issues down.
Yes.
Because you don't go into the world financially stressed.
Right.
And
or
trying
into
to
debt.
figure it out,
Right.
So when you were talking, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good thing. So, but what do you think is a nice pro-social way for us to make the community more aware of how important education is to the the generational wealth that we're speaking of, and how powerful it really is for them and their family?
Yeah. What I will say is certain communities start preparing their children for SATs in the 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in our community, we're not starting until the year before they have to take the SAT and ACT. So it's about planning early as possible. And once you know better, then you figure out the fastest way to do better. And so what that means is, how do I expedite and close the time it's going to take to build wealth in my family? And how do I show my children how to do that as quick as possible, whether they become entrepreneurs, whether they find out different school opportunities. Every year I believe it's in January, there's a school choice fair that takes place. And a lot of the schools are there: private school, charter school, public schools. Public and charter are the same thing. I just will say that. Micro schools. And it's important for families, when they find out about those opportunities, to attend so that they can make the best decision and have it be a family decision. And sometimes students don't know what they want to do yet, right? And so parents have to look at, well, what is the industry saying? What is up and coming? You know, watching the news may be one thing, but going to the Urban Chamber of Commerce meeting, going to being invested and involved in NAACP, in National Action Network, to see what economic things are happening within the community, what is up and coming, and how can I have my young children invested and involved in that, and starting as early as possible. So my daughter is 9. Her name is Hendrix, Miss Hendrix.
Okay, Miss Hendrix.
Yes. And she is in the 3rd grade, but we're currently looking at middle schools for her right now. And that's important and critical, as many years as possible, to explore what is the pathway, what are her avenues, what can she do right now, so that I already have the plan in motion. Because 1 year, right, is not enough. 2 years is not enough when other communities are already focusing 6, 7, 10 years down the line and preparing them for the things that they're going to be exposed to. So just thinking about things on a longer scale, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. You know, where do I want her to graduate? Do I want to homeschool her? Do I want to, because I plan on traveling and living my best life when she gets like junior high. So do I want her homeschool so she can come with me on those excursions? There's even schools, you know, like almost like boarding schools where children go away. I wouldn't say go away, but they get an exposure to just concentrate on school in a different form or fashion. That's an option. But trying to learn a multitude of ways that a child can be educated based off of who they are and how they like to be loved. Because based off of that, that's where they're going to flourish and learn who they are as fast as possible, so that they can generate not only wealth, but have a strong foundation in who they are. And I still believe that college is important. College is like fun. College helps you build so many other skills that high school can't do. And it's just, depending on where you go to school, it really is a different world. And I think as many children should experience that as possible, because it is your gap before you do have to start really paying all those bills and all those things like that. But families have to be paying attention as quick as possible to how their children like to be loved, what they like to do, and exposing them to as many opportunities and access as possible.
Okay. And so to that, I would say, I'm an advocate of you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so let's just say that we were in a space where we can get our hands on as many parents that maybe don't know that they don't know. So how do we speak to them?
Yeah. I think parents know what they wanted for themselves growing up. And so they have to ask a lot of questions and get involved into the school setting that they're in, and find alternative avenues. YouTube is our best friend. Google is our best friend.
University.
It is a university. TikTok is wonderful because if you just search school opportunities in Google, or unique school models, that will help start to open up their ideology on what could be possible for schools. Going to the library and asking for help and support is important. Asking teachers if they know anyone in education, that they know, hey, I'm looking for an alternative for my son or daughter. Have you heard of any schools that, are opening up or that are coming? And just, you can even Google search new schools in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Tuition free, new schools in Las Vegas, and a plethora will come up.
And because I work with the youth, and a lot of times, like you said, a lot of people feel that this is the only route because this is what is shown to them and put in front of them. Like you get zoned, and once you get zoned, you put them in the school, and then there it is. But a lot of these youth, their education is being hindered due to the way they're being treated.
Yes.
And it shows, and you'll go there and try to do some type of advocacy, and the outlook is, well, we can't change them in the middle of the thing. Well, why you can't change?
Right.
Why is it that this teacher may not be the problem?
Right.
Try something else.
Right.
Or are we just going to continue to deem this child as a hoodlum or
Right.
whatever it is that you've already made up in your mind? And I witnessed it. I witnessed they switched this child out of the class, completely different child.
Yep.
And he told me, he said, when she talks to me, she spits on me.
Right. And who wants that? Who's
He
gonna
said,
be able
because
to
she's
do that?
always so close in my face, and it's the smallest thing that a kid would say, but you're like, oh, she spits, but
Yeah.
I'm listening to him like, she's too close in your face.
Right. Exactly.
It all makes sense. You know what I mean? Which means she's probably talking crazy to you, like you're also saying, and there was somebody who went in there and said, another black woman, I'm gonna just say it, she said she witnessed it. The school said they had no evidence. But eventually you had to push,
You have
fight.
to push.
The police
You have
came,
to
put the
fight.
baby in handcuffs. Just all this traumatic stuff that happened when you only could have just tried
Right.
to switch the class.
Right.
So they need to know about schools that look like you,
Right.
that is for you and
Right.
want to pour into you and love on you,
Yep.
and not only just educate you, also make sure that
That
you
you're
have
safe.
financial backing as soon as you step out of the classroom. I think that's something completely
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
So, the funny part is all of my questions, you answered them. So in reality, we could just have a candid conversation
Yeah.
about why this is so important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And what is it that we want people to know?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. As an educational chair for the NAACP, please reach out to us if you're having any issues with discipline, with implementation of IEPs, where you feel like a school is not supporting your child in their education. We will try our best to provide some advocacy work for you. We can help and support with finding legal counsel if necessary. And that goes the same with the National Action Network. Those organizations have been so instrumental in helping and supporting a lot of families through the work that's necessary for families to say, I do have support, and no, you're not going to just treat my child any kind of way. And you can move your child to a different school while you're still holding that other school accountable. They don't have to stay in an environment where you feel they are being mistreated. It would be no different if they were mistreated on the street. You wouldn't continue to say, okay, keep going to that street,
Yeah.
right? You would remove them from the situation. And so,
Yeah.
you weigh the pros and cons of what they're receiving as far as their academics and make a family decision on, is this the best avenue? And if it's not, research, find another avenue, take your time with it. You don't have to rush. Ask a lot of questions and make sure it's the right choice for your child and your family. You don't have to stay anywhere where you're not welcome or you're mistreated. And that goes in anything.
Message.
Yeah.
So if they were to need to reach out to the NAACP Health Education Department committee, how would they get in touch with you?
Okay, I should know the website by heart, but
yeah,
I want to say it's...
While she looks for it, I'm going to talk about an experience, right? And this is why I keep saying that we are far more powerful in numbers than we're not. That's why we're deliberately trying to be divided, right? And the people have been pretty successful in the division. But we were, and I probably have told this story before, but we were at the park and we used to barbecue all the time, right? Like Saturdays was our day. We meet up. You bring some food, we bring some food, and we were doing that. And one time we were out there in Minnesota, let's just be clear, there's a lot of white police officers there that, you know, it almost becomes like a thing to be harassed. You know what I'm saying? And we were out there, and I only can give it to you from my perspective because I was like laying back on the picnic table and looking at the stars, and we just talking and hanging out. And then all of a sudden there's a bright light because the police have pulled up on us. And then there was these voices that were like, do we have a problem with these young ladies? And all of a sudden it was a whole different conversation. But there were, I don't know, maybe like 15 men of the Islam nation, and they had the outfits on and the long trench coats. And they said, we watch these ladies. We watch over these ladies. They barbecue all the time. They don't leave a mess. They don't start drama. We're going to ask you to leave.
Yep.
And they left. So when you said that, it just made me feel like showing up to these schools. If it's 5 or 10 of us, we're all here to have a conversation.
Exactly. And that's all we need is a conversation.
That's all we need.
That's all we need.
And some understanding.
Right.
And some understanding, because the pushback is crazy. So all while you were saying that, I'm like, this is what this looks like to me, because I thought that was like beautiful. I thought that was a movement. I don't know why I didn't join right then and there, but I should, just the way they showed up, and it was the way they spoke, and it was the reaction of the police. And we have been harassed by them a bajillion times by now. So it's like, to see that, if I can see where things become fearful from others.
Exactly. And just having a presence and having support is beneficial. Sometimes I don't want to give away all the strategies, but I will say that, we make sure that families have the support that they need. And so it's critical to find an advocate, whether that is NAACP or National Action Network. There's so many organizations out there that will step up to the plate and be in meetings with you. They'll give you feedback. They'll give you advice. And the best thing that I can say is to, always put things in writing, follow up with schools, and make sure that if there's a specific deadline that they're supposed to handle something, that it gets done. And then go up the chain of command. There's nothing wrong with bringing more people into the fold if necessary. And just know that you have parental rights. And if none of those things work, find alternative options for your children so that they're safe, that they're growing, they're prospering, and we will definitely accept them at Rooted. So have no fear.
I almost want to go to Rooted. I need to turn the
clock
give me
back.
A good job when I get out of school, get treated with love.
Right.
Yeah, that's important, because a lot of people are turning to homeschool.
Yep.
And predominantly a lot of it is due to bullying.
Yes.
And so let me ask that, like, in the quickest way, how would we prevent or keep bullying low?
You mean at Rooted?
At Rooted.
Yeah. So
because I know it's already a foundation of love. So
yes,
that is an avenue.
There's going to be safety precautions for one, that we'll have in place. Two, having mentorship is really important. Teachers will have a group of students that they will keep with them for the years that they're there. So like the freshman class, our goal is to have the same teacher with them every single year so that they get to know them, they get to understand what's going on, and they become an advocate for the student. I think laying a strong foundation of respect and being respectful is important for students. We have to model what we want them to do, right? And so sometimes certain environments, adults may not be modeling. And sometimes certain environments are not addressing the bullying right away. And there are laws to that. And so if a school's not following those laws, it's important to hold them accountable. And I would expect the same thing at Rooted, right? So if there is a notification about a bullying incident, there's so many hours that had to take place where that is immediately addressed. Luckily, our campus is not super duper large, so they can, get the support that they need really quickly.
I love that. That was like the best answer. And I need every school to model that because it's real. So we do want to make sure that, families can contact you if possible. So let them know. And if you want to give out Rooted's information, address, and the invitation to the block party, which everybody should come to.
Okay, so if you ever need any advocacy work and you want to join the NAACP, which we highly recommend, the website is www.naacplasvegas.org. That's one. We also have the National Action Network. I am the membership chair for the National Action Network.
Okay.
So we are always looking for new members, and we're about the business. So please just Google search National Action Network Las Vegas, and you will speak to me in order to help you gain membership.
Is there a due?
It's $25.
Okay.
Both are $25, so not an issue. But I will say for Rooted School, you can go to www.rooted, ROOTED, school, cc.org. You can call 702-608-6883 if you need information. And we are currently enrolling, although seats are filling up very quickly. But we're having an enrollment event / community event, and just thanking our founding families. That will be this Sunday, June 1st, 5 p.m. at the historic West Side School. We'll have games, we'll have prizes, a game truck, STEM, food. So come on down.
Make sure you guys are there. Tune in with us next week. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love y'all. Bye.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot702.5fm.com.